Looks like both teams are ready to rock and roll. Morton's List currently 1-0 in this best of 3 for the round 1 of the playoffs. And as mentioned already, the team that does stick around and win this best of 3 series does get the advancement for next week's playoffs, whilst the loser will have to go back on through to Tuesday's Open Division, re-qualify, and give it another go and come back fighting. Genji, once again, seems to be the story here for Morton's List. They banned it last game. They banned it this time. Are we going to see the Nubrak for the second double trump?
No, instead it's at Zeratul. They were really annoyed, I guess, by the pressure that the Zeratul was able to put on their backline. And once again, Zeratul's quite viable on Cursed Hollow because of all those sort of choke points in getting to the tribute.
Yeah, I mean, if you talk about all the sort of like exposed areas and the ability to snipe out, we saw, I believe, once it was Valera, played by Benjamin94, where he was actually sitting in the bush watching them do boss. And he just bought so much time. He was a mobile ward, as you coined Demise last game. And, you know, you get so frustrated when you're having to play so hypersensitive to the shimmers and the blurs on your screen, where you're sort of adjusting your graphic settings to accommodate if you can actually win this game or not. But Nubrak is going to see the light of day. We're going to see what he can bring to the table with the cocoon, with the changes, and with the presence that he brings in that tanking role.
So Nubrak is an interesting one. I was actually just sort of discussing today, and it seems as though the bans, they're targeted towards, I guess, perhaps the more novice Nubraks, because his combo still works. You burrow in, you get the first stun, then they try to run away, you lay down impaling spikes, and you sort of pick them off. They didn't touch anything else in his kit, realistically, except for another talent, but that doesn't really modify the way his kit works. So yes, Burrow's on a longer cooldown, but has it impacted the way he's played? No, not really. It's just going to punish an Nubrak that misses it. But at this high level of play, you shouldn't be missing them.
No, especially when you're playing at these high-level tournaments, not like your average Plat Diamond game or that game that you play at 5 a.m. in the morning where you're versing golds and you scratch your eyes and say mistakes were made. But there we go. Mirrodin is locked on in. Greymane to complement it. And arguably two of the strongest picks. They've actually opted for the Mirrodin over the Malfurion, which is a interesting variation given that Malfurion is arguably one of the most prioritized heroes, especially as the support. So it does now leave that as an open option for the Nubrak to complement and pair quite nicely with. Surely this has to be the go-to, Vandie.
I think that Morton's List will be wanting to pick up that Malfurion, but in the eyes of Sweet Dreams, they don't mind. Perhaps they want to use that Oriole again. So now whether Morton's List anticipate that and perhaps pre-ban out the Oriole to force perhaps something that isn't a comfort pick out, it's all about the mind games and seeing how they play it out. But I think that's also why they've opted to get that Mirrodin away. Mirrodin can just do such a good job of zoning out that backline.
I do.
And it be the ones going in there.
They haven't gone for the Malfurion, Vandie. They have a trick up their sleeve here, it would seem.
Yeah, I'm wondering. So they're really, neither side are in a hurry to pick up their supports. They're really prioritizing now exactly how they want their front line to go, exactly how they want their damage to go. That Greymane just getting such high priority pick. I hope he does, if it is Rumac playing, I hope this time he picks up Cursed Bullet. I think it'll do a lot better in the long run in terms of what he wanted to accomplish.
Absolutely, not to mention that Koto will be able to find, to a lesser degree, slightly more value on this map. Uther has been banned away. They don't want to have any idea of a hyper-aggressive Tychus in their face or even the Li Ming doing work, but Malfurion, they didn't pick it because they wanted to ban it. Interesting thing to talk about, Vandie, would be the fact that a Nubrak can shut down the Oriole so damn well, potentially why they're trying to bait them into this corner.
Yeah, so by not picking up the Malfurion, it's exactly that. They're like, okay, go ahead. If you want to run Oriole again, do it. But this sort of telegraphs that a Nubrak can pick up Cocoon and just lock her out every fight, try to lock her out, and then just leave them at the mercy of Morton's List. But now it's tough because, yeah, Uther definitely was a great ban. It's countering what they want to do by going this sort of dive comp. As you said, Uther can mitigate a lot of that now with the additional armor his healing can bring. I don't know. I think they
should just run with the theme, right, of more DPS. I mean, more CC, sorry. So potentially pick up that Kalfas. They're going to go for the Zebo again. They want to stick around with this late game potential. I mean, it gives them the poking potential for those tribute fights, for those extended durations. They go for Dahaka. They want the globe on a big map like this. That does make sense.
And it is giving them some CC as well. We now have Zombie Wall as well as Drag added to the fray. So if Morton can open up with the stun, they have a lot to follow up with. And it gives them a lot of push on this map, which is definitely not a bad thing.
What do Morton's lists go now to complement what they already have? I know they want another tank. They can't leave the Nubrak on his own. It'd be pretty squishy if he does whiff things. There's so much damage for him to compete with a Greymane, followed by a Nazebo, not to mention the threat of 2 big stuns that are rather easy in close range to actually hit. He would need some sort of insurance to make sure that he does not die that quickly. There we go. We got the ETC. Potentially stage dive. Haven't really seen it be as much of a thing as it used to be, given the changes, but Mosh Pit at this stage could work. I mean, you're looking realistically at just Morton and Dahaka, and if they're in melee range, they can't really do too much about it. They are going to run with their Rhaegar as well. Ancestral make sure that Oriel is locked on in, finally. So Nazebo will be able to provide a ton of hope for that to find some value, but I'm just so concerned because Anubrak shuts it down. It denies the energy, it denies the potential for healing, it denies the A, because it just... They can literally all dance on in. They can all collapse after the cocoon and find that initial kill for the 4v5.
Cocoon's an interesting one because it really forces the enemy team to play differently. They need to be aware of, as soon as that cocoon happens, they all need to turn and bust whoever that is out of there. Otherwise, it's instantly a 4v5. That's why Anubrak has been considered such a high threat, such a high priority, especially in things such as Hero League, where people have paid so much respect, even on the competitives. It's because of that numbers advantage. If you lock out that character and you're not turning around to free that person, and it's also wasting time. Yes, okay, if you get that person out, that's great, but you're wasting precious seconds that you're probably going to take damage, take CC, get poked at. So that's why Anubrak is so strong at the moment.
Couple of changes, actually, Vandie, in this roster. We've got Hack this time playing Greymane, so Ryumak has been switched into Nazebo, potentially a hero he's a little bit more comfortable on. On the flip side of that, we talked about how good Demise is on the Li Ming. Hacky was playing such a great Tychus last game, but they flipped the switch on that as well. So interesting how these roster shuffles have affected their ability to function as a unit. We'll have to see how this affects both their playstyle and their performance leading into this game. But this is Cursed Hollow game number 2. Morton's list currently 1-0 in the best of 3. This is round 1 of the playoff. Still another best of 3 after this one to rock and roll with. So stick around, guys. Get your predictions in chat. Chuck out those exclamation mark BVAs for some sweet skins. Vandie, predictions for this one?
Oh, it's tough to say.
Be bold. Be ice bold.
I know. I'm looking. It's really going to... It's really going to come down to, I guess, how they follow up. But I'm so worried about that Anubrak pick. Same as you. So at the moment, I'm favoring a little bit of Morton's list. It's just going to come down to how well Sweet Dreams can respond to that. But at the moment, I'm favoring Morton's list. Just their draft, just their comp. I think it's quite smart.
Let's talk about their comp in particular then. It's going to be Sashin rocking ETC, Moops on Rhaegar, Hacky on Li Ming, Vikrak on Anubrak, and Demise on Tychus.
Sweet Dreams on red side again. We've got Katori on Dahaka, Icebolt on Morton, Hack on Greymane, Ryumak playing Nazebo, and Airy on Oriel.
Look at this. Sweet Dreams bringing it back to the old school days, trying to bust out those creep blocking tactics. Get those small little leads. If they can eke it out in the mid lane, might be the difference between them winning or losing. We'll have to wait and see. But it is going to be a spider build this time around, and understandably so. It's going to find a lot more value on a squishy target like the Li Ming or that Rhaegar.
It can effectively just zone one of them out. A late game spiders on a target can really just chunk them out and force them to retreat. As well as what was interesting to me as well was once again we're seeing the cocktail build coming out.
Gank attempt in the top lane. Oh, it's not finished just yet. The stun attempt comes out from the drag. The Ice Gold is looking for the stun. The Stormbolt is there. Do they have the front loan damage? No, Hack cannot get the damage on through. He was looking for the cocktail, but direct impact does absolutely nothing. And Katori so early on forced it back. Not going to be too phased by that one. Does have the burrow charge, but it could have really worked out pretty scary with the first blood this early on.
That's not what they wanted. Not at all, but interesting the way they've sort of done their lanes. It's normally, I guess, a solo lane at the top, solo lane at the bottom, and then the mid, but instead we've got quite a lot of pressure on that top.
It would suggest to me, given that blue side will have the Giants spawning for them, that they want to have this pressure here. They want to try and establish a bit of a lead. And then I'd imagine Moops, be it Rhaegar, because he's got the Lightning Bond at level 1, will then go to solo that camp, try and time it really well for 2 minutes in this game, and hopefully get the RNG in their favour for the first tribute.
Exactly. That's why it's always worth going for your Giants, especially with a gank attempt coming up from Katori here on that Dahaka.
Second time lucky with the drag. Stormbot. Can it connect this time? It can't, no. Session doing a great job body blocking for his support there. Moops is going to get bitten off pretty hard. It's actually going to really impact his ability to solo down this camp. He is going to go for that rotation on now. But he's dropped to literally a fifth of his health total. Have to keep an eye on that. He's gone for the healing ward at level 4. Whether or not that was picked up just for that in particular, we'll have to wait and see.
I was wondering the same thing. I'm like, is it so he doesn't die at the time? No, I think it's also he's got a grand scheme in mind right there. But instantly like that, we have seen the Giant camp being taken up now. And that's going to force... Don't see Sweet Dreams getting it. It could actually work against them. Because yes, RNG has rolled in their favor.
RNG really has, and because Hack was in the top lane as Graham, and he couldn't do the exact same in the bot lane and get their own Giants, so this is a bit of a lead right now that they can acquire. They need to get the Dahaka sent up to that top lane to retaliate and deal with it. Right now he's sitting pretty in the bot lane. Graham really not in the best situation for this sort of matchup, if you will, and you can see, given that they have those Giants pushing top lane for them, the aggression is coming out from Morton's list. They bully them off the point for the meantime. Healing Ward does come out this time as well. That's going to keep everybody nice and sustained through the spider damage, through the damage not only from Oriel as well, but the cap has been begun. Katori is going to have to cop a lot of damage, Vandie.
Does cop a lot of damage. He does get the drag though. Zombie wall is perfectly laid out.
That's all it takes. One stun attempt followed by another, and that target has no chance whatsoever, at least pre-level 7 when there is no cleanse. And that kill was enough to get the tribute and really work on a sort of deficit, because Grayman is still in his top lane. The gank attempt is going to come out again. Echo Pedal does make sure he gets taken out, but no! A beautiful drag from Katori. Sadly, Hack was so low and he couldn't follow things up, but Katori is really on point.
I was about to say, Katori is making plays in this game, and he's everywhere at once. He made sure that he's getting drags on high priority targets. He hasn't even missed one, as far as when I've been sort of spectating him, just sort of glancing over. And he's everywhere that he needs to be. That's exactly the type of rotations that we want to see coming out.
Well, they were forcing the aggression in the bot lane there. They were trying to make something happen there with Vikarak, who had no mana, who had no way of escaping, but you can't really follow up that stun attempt with a Nazebo. Not the strongest ganking buddy, if you will. This time, Night Camp has been picked up by Sweet Dreams, so they are going to have a little bit more pressure leading into the second tribute spawn, which spawns in their favor on their side, in this top side. Katori is going to begin that channel. He's got the team ready in the choke, but Session positioning himself quite nicely can definitely stop this.
Did you almost see the synergy coming out from Nazebo and Oriel just then?
I know.
They're getting so trapped!
The choke is so huge, and they're in the Valley of Death, and they get taken out for free. Ling Ming says wham bam, and absolutely thank you, ma'am, picking up those kills for free. And a half-level lead, as a result, has been acquired. Now they can pick up the tribute for free. No contestation from that one. And Katori is forced to go back to doing what he did best last game and soak it up.
Oh, Oriel almost managed to knock back into the wall of zombies. And when it didn't happen, I'm just like, they're going to get punished for this. And I feel bad. I really, really do. That was the valley of all the death.
It would have been an MVP play, if anything. If they'd got the Detainment Strike into the Nazebo wall, that would be something that you'd choreograph. That would be something that synchronized swimming teams would be envious of.
Exactly. In terms of how the experience is going now, we do see Morton's list now with a nice experience advantage. Really, I guess it came through that first sort of push, having the Giants pushing so hard on Hack as well. Without much you could do, that entire front wall has now been taken down. We are now going to see another tribute being spawned in the top. Both teams are sort of in a similar situation in terms of how they can rotate to it, but with the exception now, Giants been picked up for Sweet Dreams and in their favor for that bot lane. It's all about the micro in this game.
It depends what they do. Again, they're going to walk straight back into the Valley of the Death. They say, how about we try it twice? It worked out pretty well for us last time. Why not? Demise is there. There is no contestation on this. He's going to pick that channel up for free. Golems are in this bot lane pushing. No chance of them being taken out right now. And the rest of Sweet Dreams retaliate. They take out that Night Camp. They are still behind. There goes the big burrow charge on the Icebolt. It does not matter if you're Muradin. The bigger they are combined with everything said and done. And that is a dead Muradin.
Exactly. He didn't even have time to react. That's the Anubarak combo that we fear. That's why, really, the nerfs that happened to him today, they haven't changed his kit. They haven't changed his playstyle. As long as you land it, something's going to happen. And nice boss attempt here as well, coming out by Morton's list. They're taking every advantage they can, especially because now they have level 10 as well. They're feeling good.
So this is literally what Sweet Dreams did last game, but on a far safer scale. They knew that there was not going to be any contention, and they knew, given that they got the kill on especially the tank who's the initiator, they can get this for free, and it's going to time quite nicely leading into the next tribute. If this spawns in their favor, they can really start to snowball by not only pushing on through, but taking away the enemy boss as well.
All right, now here's an interesting discussion point. We are actually seeing Locust Swarm being picked up instead of Cocoon. And essentially, we thought that their whole sort of team fight strategy would be about locking out that Oriole or locking out somebody using Cocoon and then collapsing on the rest. Instead, no. It seems that Vicarex is more worried about being able to sustain the fight. They're going to leave the lockdown to Sashin with Mosh Pit.
Katori in the front line straight away. Burrow charges into 3 members. Adaptation pop very early on to make sure that he can live. Can he buy some time? Icebolt is trying to tank on through. Vicarex, he cannot sustain. The Locust Swarm is just not enough to provide him with the life totals to do what he needs to get done. 2 tanks dead for Morton's list. Getting a little bit too angsty potentially. Trying to force the agenda, but on different pages. Katori really doing work to soak up 3 members. So impressive his gameplay this time. And that does bring us to 2 apiece right now. The advantage that Morton's list have been working so hard to achieve, negated in an instance.
That was it, exactly. It felt like Morton's list were trying to push too hard. Really there. They just could have backed off and sized up a better fight. And now it's going to allow them to take their boss. Perhaps uncontested? They don't look like they're bursting it down too fast. So if Morton's list arrive in time, I don't think they're going to contest them. No. They're just going to go to lane. I was saying that if Morton's list did want to try and run straight up there, we could have seen another brawl happening, but they're playing it safe.
I'm still so baffled by this Locust Swarm pick because, yes, when we did initially have a Nubarak come into the fold of things, it was a case of raw damage, just unleash the pain, get in their face, overwhelm them with pressure and get kills and just win based on that. But utility really has become such a big talking point, especially how Faust has switched to the Mighty Gast, and we had A-Pop being picked up by Diablo. You had the sort of that faith in your team members that they can do their jobs comfortably, they can bring the damage as their role respectively asks for. And there's almost a maturity element, I suppose, when these big reworks come about, that people think, oh, this has to be the go-to, but then, this actually could work in our favor. But this is going to be the big one, Vandie. This time, this tribute decides who gets curse points.
Exactly, and with that curse can come a lot of experience and potentially a snowball after that. And, okay, we're seeing Icebolt now trying to go in with the engage, perhaps.
Yeah, they're pretty split once again, but Katori's doing what he did last time. He's going to burrow on down straight away. That does negate the burrow charge going from Vicar, but he gets popped! There is no way for the adaptation to find any value because he's already used his defensive cooldowns. Everybody locks into that chokehold. Gary the Gargantuan shredded on down, called the RSPCA. Animal cruelty at its finest, but Demise is there. He does have the tribute. They do get the curse, and this time they can find some value.
And Hack now in a lot of trouble. That fortification's not going to do anything for you now that it's been cursed. Oh, poor.
That is a feels bad man emote if I've ever seen a right time to pop that in the chat.
Oh my god, I don't want to be here. And really, okay, with that Locust Swarm, I was thinking a little bit more on it, and I think a lot of it had to do with Sashin just being the designated lockup. They didn't want to overlap on the roles. They're like, if we have Mosh Pit and aggressive grab by Katori there.
Yeah, Katori just saying, hey, look, I might have made a play there, but I can still do these. Don't be too cocky now. But this is a lot of value that they're finding, right? The boss on their side will be spawning in about a minute, roughly. If they can get a keep off this is constant pressure that will really work in their favor. The respawn time is our favoring right now for Sweet Dreams to get back into the pot of things. Cleanse has been used. This does play quite nicely down to Sweet Dreams. They are going to look to try and chase on down here. They are on even footing. Hacky was not there. He just arrived on the flank. The curse is still active. But Sweet Dreams decide to play it patient, not overcommit, get themselves back into a favourable team fight and decide to wait until 16.
With all being said and done, really they've also managed to stay quite nicely on par with experience. So props to Sweet Dreams, and a lot of that had to do with Ryumak, making sure that he was just designated sitting in middle while the rest were defending top. They did lose a fair chunk of their outers, but their keeps are still nice and healthy, still intact. And if they can get the next tribute to get the curse, they're going to be in a nice little spot here, Sweet Dreams.
Yeah, they can definitely flick the switch on their opponents because, as we mentioned, the boss is now going to be up in 15 seconds in that bottom left side of your mini-map. If they can do a sizable chunk of damage in this top lane to counterbalance that and see the rest of Morton's just respond to it, steal away that boss, then that is definitely going to play into their favour. But what I want to talk about real briefly, Vandie, Superstition has been picked up here by Riomax. So He's going to have the magic armor to deal with both Li Ming, not to mention the abilities from all the surrounding members of Morton's list, but that just means he can get smashed on through by the Sunubrak, who's gone for acid-drenched mandibles at 13.
Exactly. If they pay attention to that, it really, yes, it makes him so nice and safe from any poke coming out of Li Ming, but it's opening him up to be shredded in terms of that. And look at this boss attempt right here. There is no tribute up. There's nothing up. It's more, I think they see Katori on top, and that's going to force him to have to rotate. Oh, they're in a sticky situation.
Oh, the mosh pit. Look at that. The value coming from the smash as well. Boom comes the pain. Oreo with the Aegis onto Ice Ball. It's going to buy him enough time to live, but 2 members already gone on down. Aerie has nothing left in the reservoir. She is dead and gone. Ice Ball just thinking, crap, what can I do? He can't do anything. Dahaka went mid lane, and that is just suddenly a bait that really worked in their favor.
It was indeed, and a lot of it I think a lot of it was planned by Morton's list because they saw Katori show top and they banked on Burrow being on cooldown. And it was the right call for them. Not only do they get boss, but they secure the tribute, denying it from Sweet Dreams, setting them back a little bit.
The mosh pit, no cleanse attempt, well, there's no cleanse potential even from the Oriel, and with both tanks that can interrupt it being taken out of the fight of things. Sashin, really the huge MVP of that fight, but it has to come down to questionable positioning from Sweet Dreams to burrow, well, not to burrow, but to clump up so hard when they know that's the condition.
Exactly right, and to know that Katori would not be able to join them as well. Perhaps the communication was not quite there, or perhaps they thought they could poke, but really, if you think about it, Morton's list have everything in their bank to be able to engage on you quite well. So there is no such thing as a safe poke. It's going to be them engaging on you if they see you anywhere near them.
Now, depending on how confident they are in their play, they might even rotate through and try and steal away the enemy boss. Moshpit is down for another 35 seconds. Locust up in 15. Odin in 20. If they do a bit of a dance around this boss pit, those key ultimates will be available, and they will give them that ability to definitely team fight to the highest degree. Level differences are really quite negligible. Talent tiers are on the same footing, but this is really where the fight's going to break out. Surely a boss is going to be the result of this one. Tribute is in that top side, and this is really what Sweet Dreams want to look for. They can't afford to do any sort of desperation tactics here. Keep it together and get themselves back into the fold of things.
Oh, they are clumping up for a choke. I feel so bad for where that tribute spawned, because if I was Sweet Dreams, I thought, okay, if the tribute's on the bottom, they can let go boss and get the curse. But no, oh, Katori getting dangerously low.
Katori, last second going for the burrow charge, but the mosh bill once again, and both crucial targets with the ability to interrupt it, locked on in. Session having an absolute monster of a game with these mosh pits. Vikrak in the back line, both tanks dropping on down. Go for the throat has been used. Trying to find, well, actually, no, it hadn't. I heard a prowl must have been interrupted. It's the attempt was done on through, but it's a 2-for-1 trade with both tanks once again for Sweet Dreams being taken out. The tribute picked up, and we talked about it, Vandie, the boss.
It's a 2-for-1. Really, Morton's list had everything go in their favor right then. The RNG was not in Sweet Dreams' favor. They knew that they were in the boss area, but if that tribute had spawned in the bottom, the Morton's list would have had to give it up, or they'd have to go into an area where they did not know where Sweet Dreams were, if they were walking into a trap, if they were walking into a bait. So it was just really unfortunate for Sweet Dreams.
I'd love to see Sweet Dreams here just defend, try and stabilize, and look to force a fight. Hope that this tribute works in their favor, that they can actually force a skirmish, a team fight, whatever it might be, before Morton's list hit level 20. Because once that power spike is achieved, given that they're going to lose this keep, potentially, this is really going to bite them in the backside.
Exactly. I think they'll still hold on to that keep. They have so much clear at their disposal, luckily. Really, Nazebo showing a lot of shred, hack on Greymane as well, a lot of shred. But this is it again. Now we're seeing it's going to be do or die to Sweet Dreams. They can't really afford another curse.
This is match point, and right now they are set up quite nicely for it. Up in 2 seconds, the rest of Morton's list went for the invade. They went to try and take away those giants. Keep the pressure up. Make sure that Sweet Dreams don't get too comfortable with where they're at. But Iceboard is going to get the capture. Huge stuff there. Entertainment Strike coming on out, locking up the big plays on Session. Vikrak in the front line. He doesn't have the ability to do the local swarm just on yet. He's trying to take on as much damage as he can. Ancestral made sure that Session lived. Aegis negating that big arcane orb, but it doesn't matter because the Blake coming on through at the very last second makes sure that kill is picked up. It's the stun on towards Hacky. Hack on the flip side. Hack and Hacky. It's the battle of the wise. Looking for the kills. The Nazebo Spiders doing work. Who has arachnophobia when you can just get taken out like that? 2-for-2 trade, arguably in favor for the side of Sweet Dreams. And they need to try and make something happen now with this curse. They need to get a keep and try and even out this balance.
Oh, and oh my god, that was such a team fight going on right there. Even Hacky so low, barely escaping. That was the fight that they needed. I'm so genuinely surprised that Iceball managed to cap that. It looked like it was about to be interrupted, but no. Just by the scrape of his teeth. And that's what they want. They're still in it now. If they can get a keep, it's going to be a lot of pressure now on Morton's list.
I'd love to see them do it. You can see Pings coming out here thinking, should we stay, should we go? I mean, they've got it so low already. They need to commit. Kintore is here. Beautiful stuff. As the curse expires, they get the keep. The damage has already been done. But in the top lane, that single giant could absolutely take this keep for free. They need to go back for it. They seem to actually not even notice right now. They're going to go for the invade on this night. Can't pick that one up. Keep tabs on it. Hack is going to join in now. That's going to be extremely low. Thankfully, it survives by the skin of its teeth once again. But level 20 is really where we want to see this Nazebo Shrine. And this is when potentially Sweet Dreams could find themselves actually the ones leading these fights in their favor.
So close now. If Sweet Dreams can deny Morton's list from getting the next curse, really, they're in a beautiful stead. And I mean, that keep, if that went down as well, extra pressure for them. But look at this. Morton's list have 20. They want to fight. They have a small window. I don't know if Sweet Dreams can be yet.
They're going to try and force it. They're looking for it. Detention strike is huge, making sure that the mosh pit attempt can't be used, but it's not even up for another 20 seconds. Beautiful Aegis, making sure that he can live, and Kintore just gets all of his health back in an instant. Ancestral, where is it? When is it going to be used? That's the big talking point for this one. Being dragged onto a Nubrak. Cleanse coming out so little, so late. But Ancestral is the big talking point there. Nazebo gone before 20 can even be picked up. He doesn't even have the Violent Infection stacks necessary to find that power spike. It's a bloodbath, Vandie. They're fighting on nukes. They're fighting on dancing. They're killing. They're winning. And Morton's list surely have victory in their sight.
Oh my god, that Ancestral just had so much value. Once again, go for the throat being picked up. There's no resets to be had, so really it's just not giving them a lot of value. It's just frustrating, I guess, to see that.
Even after that, they're deciding, given they've got two crucial targets, and understandably so, they have no healer, and they don't have their biggest DPS, be it the Li Ming for that reset potential. If a fight were to break out, they're going to back away. They're going to go for the boss. This alone, given it's going to be a 20-minute boss once it's being picked up, this should single-handedly take on down that keep, which is exposed. There are no towers, no gates, nothing to defend it. The scaling on that should be absolutely insane. And given they're at 2 out of 3 tributes, Vandie, it would time themselves really nicely, because look where that is positioned.
Oh my god, I was just about to say that. I'm like, are these guys, have they paid their homage to RNGesus before? Because look at that beautiful spawning location right there. They've already got 3 members locked and loaded in spot, but Kintore, so aggressive.
Kintore is making sure, because he knows what's coming. He knows the boss is going to be taken. He knows that that condition literally secures the win for Morton's list. He's going to begin the channel. This is scary stuff right now. Huge burrow charge coming in session, looking for something. He's got the power slide, but no mosh pit for another 30 seconds. Odin in the backline, doing so much work, and once again, there's Zero forced to drop one down. Angelic Absorption, the Shield of Hope just cannot do anything, because both carries are gone. Oriel, the second to fall. And it's just so scary right now. There's no chance for them to even retreat. There's no chance for them to stick in this one. The curse coming out just to make the graphics look fancier on your screen. They've got the wins in their sight. They've got the GG in their eyes.
Look at Iceball.
Wow.
It's going to be a base race. I mean, I think he's going to lose it, but I love the and look at the base race.
Means are cursed. They don't live long enough to actually see the light of day. This boss is going to be the MVP. Wow.
GG.
Morton's list with the 2-0 in round number 1, sending Sweet Dreams straight on back through to the Open Division on those Tuesday nights. But what a tight game. 4th and 5th seed up against each other. We knew it was going to be close, but we didn't think it was going to be as chaotic as that, Vandie.
Such a tight game, exactly as you said. And really, a lot of that team fight as well, I instantly saw with Vikarak on a Nubrak, straight for the Nazebo, that acid-drenched mandible. The acid-drenched mandible's doing so much damage to Nazebo, all because of superstition, I guess, being picked up, making him even weaker to that. Once Nazebo was popped, they really had not a lot more pressure going for them in the team fights, and they just all crumple and fell after that.
It definitely seemed to be the common denominator of those last couple of team fights there, where both carries were taken out the fight, just overwhelmed by the tanking pressure. And you can see that Anubrak, despite not going for the more conventional tanky utility support build, going for the more damage-oriented spec has really pumped out the numbers. He's actually done as much damage, if not more, than both Nazebo and Grayman individually. So huge props to himself. But Vandie, it comes back to that time once again, before we jump to the break, MVP suggestions.
All right. I mean, I really loved seeing, I guess, Vigorek and Moops doing the work, as well as Sashin. His positioning and peeling his ETC was great, but Katori really stepped it up a notch on that game. He was everywhere he needed to be. He was making plays for his team. Look at how much experience he managed to grab for his team as well by sort of split pushing. So in my eyes, it was Katori.
Oh, we're going to have a conflicting image here, because I was going to give it to Sashin with a few of those crucial ultimates to make sure that the fights really worked in their favor, and the snowball broke out from there. So are we going to do a rock, paper, scissors via the airwaves?
Okay, ready? On 3, 2, 1.
Rock, paper, scissors, mate.
Yeah, let's do it. Ready?
Well, we need the webcams for this one, Vandie. We're going to have to get a little bit more technical with the production.
In that case, we'll give it to Sashin. Like I said, his ETC was so on point. So I really can't argue with you there.
Understandable. There we go, Sashin, mate. You pick yourself up the nomination for the MVP in game number 2 of that best of 3 round 1 series in the playoffs. But that does it for round number 1 with us on stream, folks. We do have another best of 3 in round number 2 coming up just after this. But for the meantime, back to the sweet, sweet words of the voice of Australia. It's Kit Fox.
Thank you very much, voice of New Zealand, Skimmy. Congratulations to Morton's list. They will be progressing through into the final round here. And that also means they auto-qualify for next week, and so they get Tuesday off. Congratulations to Morton's list. And good luck, because they're going to need it. They're going up against the ANZ champs, Nomia, in the semi-finals. We're still waiting on a couple of the other results to come in through Challenge. We're still waiting on No Worries and Scripps and Scrubs. And we're also waiting on Trump Sports versus Ethereal. Now, according to the bracket I'm looking at, Trump Sports have picked up one map over Ethereal. We'll see how that one unfolds very, very soon. If that one goes into a game 3, we might even bring you that one just so we don't have an extremely long break. So what we'll do now, ladies and gentlemen, is we are going to draw the raffle for one of the Diva bundles, thanks to our friends over at Blizzard ANZ. They've been extremely generous at giving us some codes and bundles and giveaways and just general swag for you guys, for everybody involved, players and viewers alike. So what we're going to do now, our producer, Crisis, the wizard behind the curtain, is going to rattle the imaginary cage behind the screens, going to spin that imaginary wheel and press that imaginary button and draw this Diva skin. Congratulations to Vikarak, who picks himself up one of those Diva bundles. But if your name is not Vikarak, do not stress. Vikarak's actually in chat. Not in chat at the moment, so he's actually playing. So I believe we're going to redraw that. Is that what I'm hearing? No, okay, we're going to give it to him. Okay, well done to Vikarak. He's going to pick himself up a Diva bundle. But yes, we do have another one to give away, so we're going to reopen the raffle. So you will, again, need to type !DVA into the Twitch chat once we reopen that one. But don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. What we're going to do is we're going to take a quick 5-minute break just to catch our breaths. You can go to the toilet. You can make yourself a cup of tea. Do whatever you need to do. As long as you come back here to GameStar TV, we'll be back right after this.